congratulations on the purchase of your 2023 Scrambler motorcycle. We're gonna do some basic walkarounds on this one so that you can get to know it better. Ducati made a really great, fun, lightweight, and simple motorcycle so that you don't have to waste too much time getting to know the electronics and just enjoy the ride. So follow along as I go around the motorcycle and tell you all about it. So you have a brand new bike. It's got brand new tires on there. What to do? Well, the cool thing with buying a new bike is you get to break it in. So the first 1,000 kilometers, that's 620 something miles, you want to kind of ease into everything. Don't just ride on the highway for hours. Don't go redlining it. Ride it normal. Have fun with it. But also remember, you have brand new tires on this thing. So for the first 40, 50 miles, ride like it's raining. Take it easy. Slow transitions into turns and braking. And same with the brakes. You want to kind of get them used to getting heated up initially so everything's working really well. So when you first pick your bike up, take it out there on a nice straight line, get it to about 20 or 30 miles and progressively come to a couple of stops. You'll feel the brakes change and everything's gonna work better. So, fresh tires, take it easy for only about 40 or 50 miles and you'll be good to go. All right, let's talk about the Scrambler and its fundamentals. This is designed to be a lightweight, simple, approachable motorcycle for everybody. And Ducati has really hit the nail on the head with this one by making it more modernized and lighter and just easier for everybody. So let's talk about where they've done this. The chassis is lighter, the wheels are lighter, you've got better electronics that are easier to navigate, and we're gonna go over those. It's so simple, it's gonna take a couple of minutes. So let's not waste any time and let's talk about the goodies around the bike. We're gonna start from the front and talk about the headlights and how they've changed. All right, so for 2023, Ducati's gone to an all LED light situation here on the front of the bike. You have the world famous Scrambler daytime running lamp, a beautiful little circle around the headlight. And the X here actually differentiates the high beams and low beams, which are all now LED, nice and bright. Same with the turn signals. You got full LED turn signals, they're nice and bright, and they work really well. So as I've said before, one of my favorite things about this bike is that it's really simplified and it's just basic motorcycling at its core, and I love that a lot. Ducati's paid special attention to the wheel design. They look beautiful for this year. They've completely changed the way it looks. It is definitely much lighter. You have ABS on the motorcycle, you have traction control that's adjustable, and you have inverted forks in the front for a pretty good plush ride that's sporty yet comfortable at the same time. All right, so you have one key to rule them all on this motorcycle. So this key will work on the ignition, the gas, and also for the seat removal. And there's a kind of a neat little hidden thing under the seat that I'll go over with you. All right, once you find the keyhole, you're gonna unlock, lift from the back, and just pull back to the back of the bike. And then under the seat, you've got a couple of little tools, which will come in handy at some point in life, and really neat little thing that's hidden back here. Under the seat, there's actually a porthole for a USB plug. So if you need to charge something, there's actually a USB plug here for you. Neat little tidbit. And if you want to put it back on, you just line up the front here and voila. Another neat feature of the new Scrambler is that the tank covers are plastic. The tank itself is metal, but these are designed to be interchanged. There's 9 total colors that you can choose from, so have some fun. Go on Ducati's website, build your own, and see what color suits you the best. Okay, let's talk about the controls of the motorcycle so you can get out and start riding. Let's talk about the right side first. You've got your front brake, your throttle, your on and off switch, and this has 3 separate positions. Right now it's at the off position. This is the auxiliary position, which gets the fuel pump going. And as long as the bike is in neutral, or if you're in gear and you've got the clutch all the way in and your kickstand isn't down, you can press this down and it'll fire the bike up for you. Otherwise, you have 2 more buttons. One of them is for the daytime running lamp. The bike does have a light sensor on it, so if it's bright out, the daytime running lamps will stay on. And if you want to turn them off yourself manually, you can just press this button and you will see that on the dash, a little green light that indicates for the daytime running lamp has gone away. So right now they're on, right now they're off. We'll keep them back on. And then the very bottom is your hazard switch. And that does just that. All 4 blinkers are on right now, just in case of emergency. So an item of note, the brake and clutch levers on this bike are fully adjustable now. So you can just turn this dial and adjust them out or in depending on your hand size. Okay, now the left side where the clutch resides, you've got a handful of buttons. So we'll start from the very top. The very top button is going to be your passing switch. So if you just need to get around somebody, you give them a quick little flash. Doesn't keep the high beams on, it's just for a quick flash. If you want to keep the high beams on, that's this button. You push it up, and now you're in high beam, back down to low beam. And you can see on the dash itself, it turns a little light symbol into a blue color to indicate your high beam is on. The next switch next to it is the up and down scroll switch. And below it, and we're gonna go over this one here in a second once we go over the actual dash functions. Below it, you have your turn signals for right and left, and also for cancellation. And then you would see on here, it says mode and enter, which we'll go over in a second. And then the last little button is our horn. All right, one of the biggest changes for the newest Scrambler lineup is going to be that beautiful TFT full color dash. And it allows you to kind of go through your settings and get more clear and precise information with just a touch of a button. So if you look at the screen itself, you're gonna have a bunch of information. Top left is gonna be your fuel level, top right is your time, the big dial in the sort of right side is gonna be your tachometer, your gear indicator, and then next to it, directly to the left, you're gonna know what mode you're in, what speed you're going. In the case of our bike currently, if the kickstand or side stand in this case is it down, it'll tell you in big red letters. And then above and below where the side stand or the speed indicator is going to be your settings menu at the top, and then the bottom of that is going to be a bit of information like, well, let's go there and show it to you. So we're going to hold this down button down for 2 seconds, and now it's highlighted, and you got your total mileage, your instant consumption, your trip 2, trip 1 time, average speed based on trip 1, average consumption based on trip 1, and then full trip 1. Now, if you want to zero trip 1 out, you press the enter button once, and it'll ask you, do you want to reset trip 1 info? We're going to tell it once, yes. And now it's zeroed out, and so if we scroll down, we're going to see it's all zeroed out for us. So, and then the range will also be written here if you rather know exactly how many miles you have left to the tank, back to total mileage. So that's the basic bit of information. Below that, you're gonna have your air temperature. The little green light on right now lets us know that the daytime running lamp is on. And as I showed you earlier with the high beam, if you turn it on, it turns blue. Same goes if you're just passing somebody, just wants to let you know your high beams are on. You'll notice now that the ABS light and the oil pressure lights are on. It's because the bike's not moving. Once the bike gets moving, the ABS sensors are gonna know that everything's working and that light will turn off. And if the bike was on and everything was working well and the oil was pressurized, then that little light would be off as well. So now let's go into the settings menu and see what it is we can play with. Okay, let's get to the settings menu. So right now, if you look on the bottom left of the screen, you're gonna see that the little yellow highlight is showing the lower menu. So we're gonna press up and hold it for 2 seconds. And there we are at the settings menu, and we're gonna press enter. And these are the options on the settings menu. You have riding mode, info display, fuel indicator, daytime running lamps, display itself, pin code, date and time, turn signals, whether you want to turn them on or off manually, language, units, back to info of the bike, and exit so you can go back to the main menu. So we're gonna go in settings menu for now and talk about the riding modes. All right, riding mode. We are now able to change this nice and easily. So we're gonna press enter, and we're gonna see that we have 2 different riding modes to play with between sport and road. So we're gonna go into sport, and it's gonna allow us to play with the power and traction control. So in order to play with the power, we're gonna press enter again, and we can pick high or medium power. So if you want dynamic, lots of power, high, and if you want it to be kind of smooth and easygoing, medium. So on sport mode, I'm gonna leave it on high, and it's gonna give us the back option. We're gonna go down to Ducati traction control, and here you'll see you have off all the way up to 4. So if you wanna ride the bike in a really wet, cold area, it's good to have it on a higher level, but for most of our sport riders, they like it at a 1 or a 2, so we'll leave this one at a 1, back. And if you don't like any of that, you can just go back to default by pressing this button, and boom, restored back to default mode, just like that. See, we're back on 2 again here. So once you're done with that mode, you can go to the road mode. Now, a lot of people like to set up their road mode for a little bit softer setup. So on this one, we'll get the power to medium. And then traction control, we can put at a 3 or a 4, depending on how wet and cold the area you live in is. So we'll leave this one on a 3. And we're back. And just like that, we've messed with the riding modes. And again, if you change it and you don't like it, you can always go to that specific riding mode and change it back to default. It is just that easy. Let's go and see what the rest of this looks like. All right, after riding mode, you have info display. Info display is the bottom left bit of info on your home dash display, and that's where you're gonna see things like your total mileage, your range, your trip one consumption, and things like that. So you can change the order in which they are set up on that one. I kind of like the way Ducati has it set up, but it's kind of neat that you can change it to what is more important to you. So I'm gonna go back on this one. And then below that you have your fuel indicator. Now you can have a little level or you can have an actual range and it'll always tell you how many miles you have left to your tank. And that's really cool because everyone's got their own different style. So we can put this one on range and I'll show you what it looks like later on. Next is the daytime running lamp. It is on auto. I love that because when it's bright out, it turns the headlights off and it just has those beautiful DRL ring on. Or you can put it on manual, you can just go back and forth yourself. So let's leave it on auto. Display. So this is where it lets you change the themes, the brightness of it, and the focus mode. So if you go into themes, it's on auto or dark. Auto for dark and light. And so again, the bike has a light sensor on there, so when it's bright out, the display is light and white colored. And if it's dark out, then the display goes to a darker mode so it doesn't bother your eyes. And again, that's gonna matter to everyone based on their needs. So we're gonna leave this one auto. Brightness, it just literally lets you make it brighter or darker depending on your specific needs. And under brightness, you have focus mode. Focus mode is actually kind of a neat new feature where if you turn it on, it actually turns off the bits of info like trip one, trip two, and then any info that's not pertinent to your ride right now. And you can turn it right back on by pressing the enter button again. So we'll put this on. And as we get out of the display menus, you go to pin code. Now this bike actually has a key and people will wonder why they need a pin on this one. It comes in handy if you lose your keys and the only option that you have is to have like another key that doesn't have the actual chip in there. It allows you to turn the key and turn the ignition on, and then the bike will ask you for a pin so that you'll allow it to turn the bike on and be more secure. So some people like to have that, just to have an extra key with them just in case something gets lost and they don't have to worry about having a super expensive Ducati key. You just get a basic blank key made specifically to that bike. After that, we have date and time. This allows you to just set the date and set the time format. And so for me, I like a 24-hour time format. This one currently is at 12 hours, so I can go and tell it 24-hour. I'm back and everything's that way. And then below that, you have turn signals. So now Ducati, like on all their other motorcycles, have allowed it an option of having auto off on turn signals. Some people don't like that, so they just have it on manual, but I love being a little bit lazy, so I'll leave that on auto. And then language, depending on the country you're in and the language that's most common to you, you can change it. We have this set for English. And units is going to let you set up speed for miles per hour, temperature Fahrenheit versus Celsius, consumption, miles per gallon USA versus Great Britain, or if you want to do, for instance, kilometers. Go back. And then info, which is the last option here, just simply tells us where the battery's at. It's starting to give us a little bit of a warning because we've had this display on for too long, so we're gonna turn it off before we get in trouble. And that is all information on here. And check it out. If you turn the bike off, it'll let you know if you press the left turn signal on, it'll actually turn the parking lights on the bike on so that you're safe in a dark space. I hope that you were able to follow along and get to know your 2023 Scrambler better. If you have any questions, call us at 503-292-7488. We'll happily go over it with you again.